Well, hey there, naughty friends. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, hi, my name is Chris, aka Naughty Bear. I'm an amigurumi designer, crocheter, and crafty person here on YouTube, and I post new videos every single week, so if any of that sounds good to you, be sure to stick around. This week, I have a fun and exciting yarn review for you all. This is a brand new yarn from Hobbii, and it has the potential to come for one of my favorite yarns of all time, so I'm very excited to give it a try. Hopefully that sounds good to you, so grab a crafty project and a snack and let's get into it. Now I know what you're all thinking, Chris, what yarn could possibly replace your tried and true Friends or cotton yarn? Well, Hobbii just partnered with Pica Pau to create an all-new 100% cotton yarn, which we will discuss the details here in a moment. But for those of you who don't know who Pica Pau is, you are in for a treat. Pica Pau is the studio name for the amigurumi designer Janina Schenkel. I believe I'm saying that right. She is an Argentinian-based amigurumi designer who is also a published author, with some of her books being published in over 10 languages. I feel like I'm introducing her to come out on the stage in a second here. But interestingly enough, Pica Pau just means woodpecker in Portuguese, which is a nod to her Brazilian mother. She started crocheting years ago in college and eventually started turning her drawings into lovable amigurumi. Today she has created dozens, if not hundreds, of amigurumi designs, each with their own sets of style and whimsy. My personal favorite is Indiana Moth here from Pica Pau 3. Look how intricate yet beautifully simple that is. I adore it so much. Her use of earth tones and soft colors is like a warm hug. That sounds really cheesy, but you know what I mean. Alright, now that we've talked more about the designer, let's talk more about this yarn. I do want to start off by saying that this is an unsponsored review. I paid for this yarn myself, so I'll be giving my fully honest opinion on this with a little bit of bias because you know I love Hobbii and I also love a cotton yarn. Speaking of a cotton yarn, you know I've talked about it before. Friends and rainbow cotton yarn from Hobbii is my favorite. I make all my amigurumi with it. And on paper, this yarn seems similar to some of their other cotton yarns, with a few exceptions, so I'm excited to see how it stacks up against some of my favorites. So let's talk about the specifics of this yarn already. All prices will be in Canadian dollars because that's where I live. There are two categories of this yarn. There are just the Pica Pau Cotton and Pica Pau Cotton Nudes. It's very simple. Pica Pau Cotton is the colors, a lot of soft pastels and things like that, and the nudes is more earth and skin tone based, but they're both made the exact same way from what I can tell. Real quick before I read the description, I just want to say they weigh their yarn in a fraction. A lot of their cotton yarns are weighed this way, so you'll often see an 8.4, an 8.6, or an 8.8. That just means how many threads are wrapped around each other or twisted together to make the yarn. So this one is an 8.7, which means it is 7 strands that have been twisted together to make the yarn. Now, the description from Hobbii.com says, Pica Pau Cotton 8.7, which is the weight we just talked about, is 100% combed cotton yarn created in collaboration with Janina Schenkel of Pica Pau Studio, the celebrated amigurumi designer and author behind the beloved Animal Friends of Pica Pau series, which I love. That's the book I just showed there. This special yarn line is a tribute to over a decade of whimsical character design brought to life through a palette of carefully curated colors. Sounds fantastic to me. From dusty reds and ochres to teals, mustards, and muted purples, each shade has been handpicked by Janina to match the tones she uses in her books, colors that are desaturated yet vivid, playful yet grounded. It is a palette designed for dreamers, makers, and storytellers. Some more specifics about this yarn. Cotton 8.7 holds its shape beautifully without being stiff, making it ideal for amigurumi and other sculptural work that calls for clean stitches and expressive detail. If you are planning on using this yarn for amigurumi, we recommend using a hook size of 2.75 or 3mm. I personally use a 2.5mm, but to each your own. Now, like I said before, this is 100% cotton yarn. You get 50 grams in each skein, which is 1.75 ounces. The yarn length is 90 meters, which is 98 yards. Yarn weight is light. The recommended needles are 4mm. The recommended crochet hook size is 5mm. Of course, this is if you're not doing amigurumi, maybe you're making a blanket or something. And the care instructions are machine wash at 40 degrees Celsius, that's 104 Fahrenheit for my American friends. Do not tumble dry and dry flat. Whew, okay, that was a lot of talking. I need a drink of water here real quick. Alright everyone, now that we have the designer and all the information out of the way, let's actually take a look at this yarn. So if you've been following for a while, you know that I am not trying to add to my yarn collection right now. In fact, I'm trying to stash bust. So I didn't go ahead and buy a bunch of this yarn. I only bought about 10 skeins and I'm hoping to use most of it in this review, however, we will see. Here is the yarn itself, very cute. It has the easy pull tab, which gives you an easy center pull real quick, which we love. It is feeling very similar to their other cotton yarn, which I said the blue one here is their cotton rainbow in 8/8, which we will talk about the size in a minute here. But it feels very familiar, if not the exact same, especially when I'm just touching it here. I almost wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Pica Pau maybe feels a little bit stiffer, but that could just be the color. Sometimes the colors are softer or stiffer than others. Who knows? We won't really know until we actually try it. Each skein of Pica Pau is currently $3.95 Canadian before tax, and I usually get the rainbow cotton 8/8 for about $2.75, sometimes even closer to $2. So it is quite a bit more expensive for a skein of this, which is kind of interesting considering I'm seeing a lot of similarities. I know it's a new yarn and sometimes that plays into it. Now, to get the most out of this yarn review, I think I have to make an amigurumi. It seems like that's the main intention for this yarn, which makes sense. And which better amigurumi to make than one of Pica Pau's own? So I'm going to go ahead and make Lucas the Red Fox here from Pica Pau 3. He is so adorable, and I have most of the colors to make him except for the blue in his shirt. So I think we're going to make his shirt out of a mustard and green color instead. I think it'll still be super cute. And I have a couple of these rusty orange colors for the body, and I think he's going to turn out adorable. And like I said, since I think 99% of people are probably going to buy this for amigurumi design, making an amigurumi character I think is going to really bring out the positives of this yarn and see where it really shines. So with that said, I have the yarn here. I actually want to use this bright orange here. I think this will be even cuter. And then we'll use this for the shirt. I might have to substitute in some of the small details like the whites because I didn't buy white because I have enough white cotton yarn already. It'll also give me an idea of if you compare their other cotton yarns with this, because technically the weight is different than my other 8/8, but I'm not sure how much of a deal that's going to make. I'm interested to see. So here's the yarn I'm going to be using to make it. I'm actually going to use this brighter orange here because I think that'll look even better. And then I'm going to make the shirt using this mustard and green combo. I think it'll just be super adorable. With that said, I'm going to go make this adorable amigurumi real quick, and then I will come back probably sometime tomorrow with our final review. Alright everyone, we are back, and I have finally finished our new amigurumi friend Lucas the Red Fox, or rather almost finished. I haven't done some of the embroidery details, and I misread the instructions on the arms and made a couple extra rounds, but I've sewn them on anyways for now. I left the little ends so I can undo them and correct it, but here he is. He still looks super cute and adorable. I love those giant ears. He is really cute. He needs the details, like I said. He has some embroidery. He has no mouth right now. But look at those stitches. So beautiful, and that color is amazing. I think he is going to be best friends with Frederick, who is my own Red Fox pattern. I just call him Frederick the Fox. So I think they're going to be besties. I actually, for some reason, thought this would be smaller. But next to Frederick, they're about... Lucas is a little bit bigger, but I think they're going to be best friends, and they even kind of have matching clothes. But you can see I added a couple too many color changes in the arms. He will be fine. But let's talk about this yarn because I think I've done enough testing to talk a little bit about it. And I have some thoughts, some of them bad, some of them good, and we're going to talk about them. First, I kind of want to touch base with my rating system. If you didn't see the previous video, it's going to be a little bit different because I did a bunch of yarns in that one, and this is just for this one particular yarn. So if you don't remember, I had 3 categories. It was the quality of the yarn, the value of the yarn, and then lastly, it was the versatility of the yarn. So we're going to touch base on all of those. I give it 1 out of 3 Knotty Bears. Sometimes I do a half. I mean, I say sometimes. I've only ever done 1 review, but in this one, I think we're going to be adding some halves in there. And then there was a last like little category called Will It Ami? And that was, could you use this yarn for Ami? I think we're going to check off this one and just say, yes, it will obviously amigurumi. And I do believe that most people are going to be buying this to make amigurumi. Okay, so let's talk about the first category, which is quality. And I think I'm going to go and give this 2.5 Knotty Bears. Now, if you remember, I gave the Friends Cotton and Rainbow Cotton a 3 out of 3 Knotty Bears. The only reason I'm not giving this one a 3, which I could easily give it a 3, I'm undecided. I think it's going to stay at 2.5, is because surprisingly, it is a little bit more papery feeling, if that makes sense. It's not annoying at all. It's not like some cottons where when you're working with it, it's just like your skin cringes and it feels like everything's drying up. But as someone who's used to using their other cotton yarns, I thought it would be a match with that, almost the exact same. But I have to say, it's just a little bit drier. And honestly, I don't think that this is actually necessarily a bad thing. Maybe I'm talking myself out of this, because I think it does create really crisp stitches, which are great for amigurumi. Maybe not as great like on your when you're feeling it. Sorry, Lucas. I know we just met, but feeling it on your skin, it's not like the best sensation. It's not bad. It's almost minuscule. You might not even notice it. It's probably partially because I use the other cotton so much. However, it's just something I've noticed. Am I talking myself into a 3 out of 3? Let's go ahead and stick with the 2.5 Knotty Bears for now for quality. Let's talk about value. Now, this is the one that gets me the most. Pica Pau Cotton is currently priced at $3.95 Canadian before tax per skein, and I've been comparing it to their other cotton yarns because they are so similar. The Rainbow Cotton 8/8 is $2.75 Canadian currently before tax, and Friends Cotton 8/8 is as low as $2.40 Canadian before tax. There are no sales on those, and like I said, they often go on sale for $2 or less. So just comparing it to those, it is almost double the price, and I gotta say that is very expensive for what you're getting. Like I said, in quality, the stitch definitions are beautiful. The stitch definitions, plural. The stitch definition is beautiful and it makes great amigurumi. I think also her unique color palette, she really curated these specifically to match her style and everything. So that is also going into this, but that price, I just don't know if I could personally justify it, especially when you have other cotton yarns for cheaper that are doing a very similar thing. I also want to touch base on the weight here because it's an 8.7, which is a very specific weight. It's still a DK weight, which is the 8.8, but maybe just a little bit less, but it doesn't qualify to lower it into a sport. It just is a weird specific weight. And the only reason I bring that up is because I would like to intermix this with the other cotton yarns. And I did try that actually on the tail here. That is actually Hobbie's cotton yarn, Friends Cotton rather, obviously Hobbie's yarn. That is Friends Cotton 8.8, and then the orange is the Pica Pau 8.7, and it actually worked together pretty well, but I kind of just wish they had made it an 8.8 so that you could mix them all together without worrying too much, making it its own thing. I understand maybe they want to like make it a little bit different, but it almost feels like you're also getting less yarn, but it costs more. I don't know, it's a little strange. However, I understand why they made that decision. I just don't think it's personally the right one for me. So for value, I'm gonna have to go and give it a 1 out of 3 Knotty Bears, unfortunately. And lastly, we have versatility, and like I've been saying, this is going to be mostly targeted at amigurumi designers, so I don't think there's going to be a ton of other things that people are going to use this for. However, I do think you could, much like the cotton yarn, you could make clothes out of it, you can make home apparel. What's home apparel? You can make home goods out of it, and things like that. It is kind of versatile, but I think specifically, I'm going to give this one a bit of a pass, because I think it's going to be targeted at amigurumi designers, and that's kind of its primary function, and I don't want to get mad at it just because it has a primary focus and ding it too much. I think what it does do, it does really well. It makes a beautiful amigurumi, and like I said, she has selected these colors beautifully. I also love the large range of earth tones. You don't often see that many earth tones and skin tones, so having all those options really does help. I just wish, like I said before, it was 8/8 so you can mix it a little bit better with the rest of them, but I've said enough there. So for versatility, I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 out of 3 Knotty Bears. All right, now let's finish this up. The sun is shining on me and I'm starting to get a little sweaty here, but one of you lovely people on my last review mentioned that you would love to see like a final score of some type, and I totally agree. So I'm going to go ahead and give this 2 out of 3 Knotty Bears as an all over score. I think that's more than fair for what you get for this yarn. Like I said, I think the big takeaway here is that it's not going to be the best pick for those of you who are trying to be cost efficient, who are maybe looking to save on yarn. I hope that they maybe lower the price or it goes on sale. I guess we'll have to see. Only time will tell. However, with that out of the way, what you end up with is a really fantastic yarn for amigurumi. Like I said, those stitch definitions and colors are so vibrant and beautiful. You really can't beat it. And Pica Pau has gone ahead and done a fantastic job at selecting colors that work specifically for her aesthetic, those beautiful pastels and earth tones and skin tones, which you don't see a lot of in other collections. This really does feel specific to them, which is fantastic, especially if you like making their amigurumi designs specifically. This is a really great choice for you. Unfortunately, or maybe not so unfortunately, this won't be replacing my favorite yarn anytime soon. However, with all that said, it is a beautiful yarn with a very specific purpose, and I hope it does well. Anyways, that's it for me. Definitely let me know in the comments below. Did you try this yarn out yet? What were your thoughts on it? Also, let me know what your favorite fox design is. Just don't do that. Compete in the comments below. Which fox is better? No, don't do that. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this channel and you want to see more yarn and amigurumi content. But that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Stay naughty, friends. Bye. What's my intro? What's the line? Oh, I'm not even holding my... Probably should hold this. You got this. Okay. All right. It's currently priced at $3.95. I don't got it. But two Knotty Bears.